just not Gianassi, if I pronounce that correctly, who's a senior engineer, metrology. And she's again in the turbo machinery and process solutions business. I'm Sean Yates. I'm an engineering manager also in our what we call TPS business. Actually, former engineer from graduated mechanical engineering from Texas A&M, was part of the SWE social chair for a couple of years. And we've got Kirby Johnson, who is a lead diagnostic engineer, also got a heavy presence from the turbo machinery business, but she is also a former mechanical engineering graduate from Texas A&M and was the old webmaster for SWE during her time there. So I'll hand it off now to Erin.
Thanks, Sean. So I wanted to say thanks for having us here today. I think my portion is only about 5-10 minutes, so I'm going to try not to talk too fast, but I will just keep it going at a quick pace. So on this slide here, if you haven't met him, which I don't know if many of us have really in person, but I wanted to introduce you to Lorenzo Simonelli. So he's our chairman and CEO for Baker Hughes. He leads our company with a personal passion. And what I mean by that is he takes the fact that we're an energy technology company and our purpose personally. And, you know, we see that here at Baker Hughes every day. Our goal is to make energy safer, cleaner, more efficient for people on the planet. And when he notes our purpose is clear, he really means that. And I think we all see that across the entire company. Our core values reflect that, reflect our purpose. And we're encouraged to live that every day. We have, we put our practice, into, actions, and we've signed the UN Global Compact. So we're living our company core values in everything that we do. And in addition, many companies have posted ESG reports. And so that's the goals for carbon, and their goals for carbon emissions reductions. And so I'm going to walk through some of that for us as a company. Baker Hughes has been reporting this type of information since 2012. So, we're one of the first adopters. And we continue to do so today through what we call our corporate responsibility report. So we report on the planet, our people, and principles, and those align with the ESG terms of environmental, social, and governance. And so I'm going to walk through some of that reporting in the next few slides. So Sean, if you want to go on to the next one. It's about our planet. Yep, thank you. And so when it comes to the planet, this is a keen passion for myself. So aligning with an energy technology company, you may not naturally think that, they're going to be involved with, trying to solve climate, challenge, but we are. And, our people are dedicated to our project across the company to drive toward a net zero emissions commitment by 2050. We're focused on reducing our scope 1 and 2 emissions, which means reviewing carbon footprint from our equipment all the way from raw material through transportation, through the manufacturing process, all the way through when we transport it to our customers. So climate change is one of the most significant challenges facing the world today, and it warrants meaningful action to reduce the environmental impact of the energy industry while we protect our planet. And so we have projects exploring hydrogen, geothermal, carbon capture. I know Frederica and Alessandra are going to go a little bit more into details on some of those opportunities, so I'm not going to go very deep in them, but that we take this seriously. And if you want to move to the next slide, Sean. So when it comes to people, this is also another passion of mine. It has to do with diversity and inclusion, not just culturally, but also gender parity. So here in Houston, I co-lead our Houston Women's, the Women's Network for Baker Hughes. It's an employee resource group. We have it's just one of many within our company that's focused on either gender or cultural differences. You can see the numbers on the slide. We still have a lot of work to do. 17% of our workforce is women, 21% of our senior leadership is women, 35% of our employees are in minority groups. But the focus and the commitment is there. And, one way we focus on bringing diversity up through the levels of leadership is through our programs. So we have leadership programs that target early career, mid-career, pre-executive levels. Some of our programs are focused entirely on women, and that, you know, the only members within those programs are women. And some of the program, you know, the remainder of our programs really, you know, all the members, it's focused on making sure that we have membership that reflects cultural and gender diversity, you know, to foster diversity of thought. You know, as a company, we recognize that you have to have a diverse workforce. And so that's really a focus of our company. So that's where the people comes in. And then on the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about our principles. If you want to move forward to the next slide. There we go. All right, so when it comes to governance, that's part of the ESG reporting I was referencing. We call it principles, and this is something that I'm really proud of. So part of being Baker Hughes, we do the right thing always. I mean, it's just core to our beliefs and our work efforts every day. We celebrate every time there's a perfect HSE day, and every employee has stop work authority. So what that means is if you see that something's not right, you can stop all the work that's happening right there in that moment whenever the observation is made, and until it's corrected, work doesn't start again. And so we do take it very seriously. We've had a 12% improvement in total recordable incident rate. So that means that there's less recorded incidents. And we have a huge amount of required training for every employee. So it's really something, you know, when people say, you know, you talk the talk, you walk the walk, I mean, we really do. These three principles as part of our corporate responsibility. We take them seriously, and we have actions and people dedicated to working on all three of them every day. So you want to move to the next slide. I'm going to do a couple of intro slides leading up to my next colleague. So our company as a whole with Baker Hughes, we have headquarters functions. That's where I sit. And then we have 4 main product companies. And so I'm going to walk just very lightly through each of them. We have Oilfield Services, which that's a business that lowers cost per barrel of oil equipment for the life of a well. They optimize production, increase ultimate recovery, and it's based on oil field servicing, you know, as in general. We also have Oilfield Equipment, so that's our OFE business. Now that business is, it provides customers with ultra reliable technologies. And so this includes subsea trees, you know, all the equipment that sits, you know, in a drilling under the water and on land. So it's manifolds, blowout preventers, flexible risers, advanced control systems. If you ask me if I could point out any of those pieces of equipment, I wouldn't be able to, but I'll tell you they're really big and they're really awesome, and they do some really tough work, but it's to make it more reliable for oil and gas, for the oil and gas industry. I'm going to go to our measurement and control. They're not on here. So our digital solutions used to be measurement and controls, but nope, you can go back up. So digital solutions, they're the peace of mind for the world's infrastructure. So it's like technology, software, connected technology, sensors, monitoring, controlling, inspections. And then our 4th product company is Turbo Machinery and Process, so we call it TPS. And the other 2 ladies on the panel are going to go much more deeper into TPS. It's rotating equipment, process flow, lots and lots of really cool stuff. So I don't want to do them an injustice. So I will let them speak to that. And then if we want to move to the last slide for me, Sean, the last slide walks through the actual, you know, energy transition solutions that our company is working on. And these sit across all 4 of those product companies that I just mentioned. And so when you think about like monitoring, the measurement and mitigation and methane detection, that sits within our digital solutions business. When we also have like under quantification and validation, we have life cycle assessments that sits within our energy transition team, which sits across all of the product companies. So depending on which product company is looking for a life cycle assessment, they may go within that company. And then we also have hydrogen, carbon capture, a lot of those sit, within TPS, which you're going to hear a little bit more about. And so this wraps up, more like the headquarters view. And so I think there were some questions. I don't know if there's any specific to myself. If we want to get those at the end, or we can answer them now, I'm open to whatever. But now is the point we're going to transition over to Frederica, and she's going to walk you through a little bit about TPS and what that product company is working on.
Thank you, Erin. Okay, today I would like to speak to you about the one of our product company, TPS. TPS is the acronym for Turbo Machinery and Process Solution. We make big machines and solutions for our customer related to the energy. If you see the slide, you can appreciate that we are approximately 10,000 of employees across the world, and we are present on 120 countries. It is a global organization for which the headquarters is in Florence, in Italy. Alessandra and myself are based in Florence, while Sean and Kirby based in Houston. We work for a different role, we are different function, but all of us are involved for energy transition mission, and because it is our company's path. Next slide, please, Sean. We are the main what are the main turbo machinery and process solution products? If you see this slide, we have three main segments: on and offshore products, industrial, pipeline and gas processing, and liquefied natural gas, energy, new energy solution, and downstream. But if we speak about gas turbine, steam turbine, compressor, expanders, pumps, valve, what do you have in mind? The compressor are the machine that increase the pressure of the gas, transforming the kinetic pressure energy in potential energy. Seems to be far from you, but if you think about the air compressor to blow up your car wheels, or the pressurized gas stored in the bottles used for the barbecue, for example, or the gas network that reach your house to allow you to cooking or to heating up. That are all the applications for compressors. Then TPS makes the compressors for large scale plant, industrial and network for gas. But how the compressor run? You know better than me, because you are technicians, so I don't need to teach you anything, but just to have an overview and to repeat. What that compressor run? It needs a driver, then can be an electrical motor or a turbine. Fix your mind on a gas turbine. It is a machine that converts the energy content in the fuel gas, the low heating value, with combustion with air into potential energy. This energy is released to drive a compressor or to obtain electricity by electric generator. So if you think all of our products are joined, are connected, but go in the energy transition. The fuels used in the gas turbine is the heart of the energy transition. Our technology is focused on the fossil fuel gas that during the combustion release the CO2 and the NOx. Now the transformation is ongoing. We are developing the gas turbine suitable to burn the hydrogen, and we are the new generation. Can you go on the next slide to have an overview of the hydrogen, please, Sean? Okay, this is a very easy slide to give you an overview of where we are. There are in the world 4 types of hydrogen: brown and gray hydrogen, blue and green hydrogen. Now is not more the age for the brown and the gray hydrogen, because it is the hydrogen will be obtained using the fuel fossil without any treatment of the fumes. Now we are in the new age. We are in the blue and the green hydrogen. The blue hydrogen is obtained from the process unit that use water vapor separation, the steam reforming one. The energy used for this process coming from the natural gas or from the gas that content carbon. And when this process is performed and the energy is used, the release of CO2 is of course provided. But the blue hydrogen is the concept that you obtain the hydrogen and treat the fumes that coming from this combustion, and you can manage the CO2 with the carbon capture system or using the natural method, for example, plant the trees. And it is one of the new generation hydrogen. There is another kind of hydrogen that it is one that everybody wish, is the green hydrogen, because we can obtain the hydrogen, use the electrolysis process, that it is basically the separation of the water, H2O, in hydrogen and oxygen. The energy to do this process is given by renewable electricity, so from wind, from solar, from geothermic, and so on. And it is a really, really zero emission process, so no CO2 released in the atmosphere. It's completely green. And we have to tend to have this kind of energy source. The hydrogen used during the storage, produced from this process, need to live, need to have a normal life. And we can use in the transportation, the city transportation, on the truck transportation. We can use in industrial chemicals, in power generation and storage, or in liquefaction. Where Baker Hughes and TPS is in this area: industrial chemical, power generation, storage, and liquefaction phase, because we use in these sectors our gas turbines and centrifugal compressor. But where Baker Hughes is in this moment. It's my pleasure to give the speech to Alessandra that give you an overview of new products. Thank you.
Thank you, Federica. And okay, thank you, Sean, for the next slide. So we have seen from Federica's slides that we have got a lot of products in turbomachinery solutions, and they are really big, and we do a lot of plants around the world. But we are going to show you one real machine, which is the one that you can see here on the left, and it is a gas turbine. So this is something that burns a fossil fuel or hydrogen, as Federica mentioned it before, to produce thermal and mechanical energy. You may see this is a very complex object. It is not easy to say we just burn a gas to produce energy. There are a lot of sensors, there are a lot of pipings, there is a lot of technology inside, and there is a lot of knowledge. And this is what Baker Hughes represents at the end, because we are a company with a very high level of knowledge inside, and really true expert in the matter that we deal with any day and at our work. This gas turbine you are seeing now is a real one that can be fed with something like methane, natural gas, and a part of hydrogen. Up to now, we have methane and hydrogen is up to 10%, but we want to use this gas turbine, which is a nova, so it is a novelty, okay, to use hydrogen at 1%, 100%, because we want to use our technology to push our use of energy in the real future. So, it is important to see that we can use this technology right now. No, this is a machine that we have sold to our internal customer in Italy, and it has gone to the field to be used with hydrogen already. So it is the future that is now, is something that is currently happening now. And we are able now to use the actual pipeline to push their hydrogen up to 7 billion cubic meter per year. And using this amount of hydrogen with our gas turbine, new gas turbine, we can reduce the CO2 emission. So it is not something that has to happen, but it is something that is happening now. And this is something that is the result of our technology heritage we have got now. So Sean, if you can go to the next slide, we see another important project that we have inside now, because on one side, we are studying something that is completely new to reduce the CO2 emission, but we are also able to reduce the CO2 that is currently in the air, that is already in the air, and that is produced by some other sources that we cannot control or are not part of our plant and produced by our machine. But we are anyway able through compound carbon capture to separate the gases that are mixed gases with CO2 and other gases inside, separate the CO2 and stock it somewhere. So we are able today to do this. We are able today to take a part of the CO2 in the atmosphere and segregate it somewhere. I tell you this because we are a technology company, and so as I can say, our main asset is our knowledge. And another important asset we have is the knowledge sharing. And this all is possible now, not tomorrow, but now, because we have got this enormous knowledge luggage that we have got with us, and we use every day in our everyday work, in technology especially. So Sean, if you want to go to the next slide, please. And here is what, from a technological point of view, we can do, and we are doing now. It is something that deals with hydrogen value chain. We have seen an application with a gas turbine, but there is the whole value chain we are studying now, and we are implementing now, starting from the production of hydrogen with electrolysis, as Federica said, and going through the hydrogen storage, and then at the end to the hydrogen use as an energy vector to produce thermal and mechanical energy. The carbon capture we have seen now, which is really very important. Also the recovery of the waste heat, because we have got plants where we produce a lot of heat, and so being able to recover it means to save a lot of tons of CO2 emission. For this reason, we have studied the CO2 in supercritical condition to store and stock CO2 in a separate storage tank or places, and then heat pumps, batteries. And we deal also with a huge amount of data. We have got eye centers and centers that manage a lot of data with really fantastic softwares that are able to drive our machines around the world 24 hours a day, and to perform better all the machines in order to reduce the emissions and to increase their efficiencies. So also the data management is really very important with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and any techniques that may be used today at its edge level, because we are really talking about technologies that we use and we create. We are creator of new solution from the technological point of view. And here you can see the energy transition, the service, because also the machines that are already running need maintenance, but also need the input of new technologies and upgrade. And our culture of collaboration, which means the contact with universities, the contact with the research centers, the innovation processes we have inside to put together all these different streams of technology just to go in one direction as fast as possible. And the innovation training, we have a lot of training inside. Training is one of our relevant assets together with knowledge, because improving knowledge and improving training is what make us the technologies we are today, and allow us to push technology in the right direction, because we are the technology creators. We are not just people or technicians that use technology, but create the technology of tomorrow. And what about our customer? We have got really very big and small customers, but any of them can be considered a partner for us. It's someone that is collaborating with us to create new energy for tomorrow. It's something that our customers are living for a journey that will do with us, together with us, for a different way of producing, using, and distributing energy. I think this is my last slide. So I think we have finished now the part related to the presentation from me and Federica.
Yep, so we can open it up to questions now.
Great, thank you so much. If anyone has questions, feel free to either raise your hand or put them in the chat.
I don't know if I understand this is these are very difficult topics, and we have discussed about them from the turbo machinery and process solution point of view, from Becker and Hughes point of view, which is a special angle. So it is a special point of view that is related to the application of a high technology level in energy production plant. I understand it is a difficult topic, okay? It is difficult to imagine what there is behind all the energy we use every day. Behind all the energies we use every day, there is technology, there is an energy company like Becker and Hughes that takes the energy where it is produced and brings things into the house, okay, into each home. But behind just simply turn on the computer, there is a an high technology level to take this energy from the field and take it to the town. Also because those fields, maybe in the majority of the cases, they are in very far places, isolated places, in the desert, in Siberia, in cold places, in very hot places in the desert. So it is not easy. So I understand the topic is difficult, but I want to stress that the message is, even if it is difficult, it will become more difficult in the future, because we have some constraints related to the use of energy and the safety of the planet. But we are ready to face this. We are ready to play the game, and we want to, because we are engineers and we want to play. Okay, so.
If I can add something from Alessandra, on top on Alessandra, sorry, Alessandra, the point is, Nana is more general, more general. You are young, but we know, and the technologies speak about hydrogen and the CO2 capture from the 30 years or 100 years. It's a topic that all the technicians spoke from a lot of years. I don't know how many. The point is that now we have not more alternative, and we have to lead this kind of energy transition. But we are not alone. Okay, Becker Hughes need to lead from technology point of view to develop the new machines and new technology, of course, but it is a change of mindset of the world. So any company, any government, any people, you, me, Alessandra, Sean, and all the people here can change really the world. I don't want to be an environmentalist promoter, but it's important that you have to think that energy transition, it's a very it's helped by the change of mindset of all the world and all the function. And we are in this direction because during this month, also during the COVID, that it is really strange, because we have to improve our communication. We have alone in our house, and it's difficult for everybody to have the contact with other people in person. Also during in this period, any company is working in that direction, and it is very, very good. It's very good for everybody. So we would like start from the schools, from the university, to have the people ready for this kind of evolution.
I also would like to ask, the audience, if y'all heard the concept of energy transition before. Are you learning these things in your classes? Are you reading about it outside of your classes? Feel free to.
I personally haven't learned as much in my classes. It's more what I see in any news that I read or news from companies like Baker Hughes, like on LinkedIn. Feel free to put comments in the chat if you don't want to unmute.
Yeah, I'm a chemical engineer, and I haven't learned like much about like energy transition. Like I've just been learning like basics, like thermodynamics and things along that line. So yeah, like Roshan said, just stuff in the news.
Do y'all, I would open up also, do y'all know much about Baker Hughes and kind of the legacy of Baker Hughes and GE? I'm gonna, let's say, assume not, and go ahead and explain. So two companies merged in the last few years, Baker Hughes and GE, General Electric, their oil and gas division. So we are now a merged company, but then we have now separated from the greater GE. So we're Baker Hughes, and I'm gonna kind of go back to the beginning of the slides to kind of tell you a little bit more about, right, Baker Hughes, who we are today. We have these four, major product companies within Baker Hughes. Baker Hughes legacy was more of a oil field services, and GE Oil and Gas kind of was the digital solutions, turbo machinery, and oil field equipment. So we're all one today, and we actually referred to ourselves as an energy technology company. So it's very inclusive of many things that span across the energy industry. And we also kind of covered here, this goes all different product companies. We have a variety of solutions designed for this energy transition to address, cleaner energy and things beyond just the traditional oil and gas industry. So you guys have any, further questions or comments about Baker Hughes?
I had a question. So toward the end of the slides, you mentioned that Baker Hughes had innovation training. So I was wondering if you could talk about some of your experiences in that and what events they focus on in that training.
So I would also take the opportunity before maybe jumping in, and Alessandra, you may have a better idea about the innovation training, but we have some leadership development programs within Baker Hughes that are right out of college. So Kirby and I actually were a part of that, and we were recruited from SWE at A&M through the leadership programs, and it's a rotational program. I particularly had 4 rotations in a variety of different businesses, and Kirby had about, I think, 3. Yeah. And actually at the time, they paid for masters for me to get that in mechanical engineering. They had a variety of training they call A, B, and C course. and it's geared to teach you about everything's about the business, even expand upon the training you maybe learned in school, but it was focused on maybe turbo machinery specifically, or the oil and gas industry, or I'm sure today there's probably a lot of stuff around the energy transition space as well. We also had projects that were submitted by the business that you could put together a team within this leadership program and work on a project. And this was separate from the actual full-time kind of rotational job that you were doing on the day-to-day. So there's a lot of training and education just in those leadership programs alone. And again, I'm really was speaking to the right out of college, which we call Aspire. And as Erin was mentioning earlier, we have a variety of other programs at different levels of your career to continue on with those trainings. So, but I'll open it up to the other ladies and Baker Hughes about maybe other trainings that you've, had, any of the trainings, maybe innovation related or other.
I can add about the Aspire program a little bit, just because I've mentored a few aspirees since I've went through the leadership program, and I went through the version that Sean is kind of talking about. It has changed, but I know a few of them come up to me, and the problems that they're tasked now, and it's always been like this, are real world. So it's like problems that we face within the company. I know one of the customers that I actually work with, while I was in a training for it's like the how you solve through a problem and how to come to a solution kind of training. They went through, it's called RCA training, root cause analysis, which I believe you get exposed to in your senior engineering program, like your design program at the very last year of school. But they were coming, and that was actually a problem that I was a part of because it was with the particular customer that I work with. So it's actually really cool. And they go around, and you don't just learn about the engineering, you kind of learn about all the parts that go into it, which I think that's what Baker Hughes is striving to do, is not to silo their engineers. They're trying to keep them broad and keep them aware of like the big technological innovations that we're trying to aspire to. So I think the Aspire program is our new engineering leadership program that Baker Hughes is putting together is pretty cool, and definitely can train you a lot and see what the company has to offer before you roll off into your full-time position.
I was going to add to what Kirby was saying, that in a lot of our leadership programs, and I think Sean, you also said this, that they're focused by function. And so in the Aspire leadership program, there's a whole function around engineering and technology. And that's a whole group of people that are focused in engineering and technology roles and rotations and training. And then we have separate Aspire tracks that are around finance, or around supply chain, or around HR. And so we have had some cross-track movement. So some people in supply chain move to, if they have an engineering background, they can move to engineering and technology, and vice versa. But for the most part, they stay within their functional group, so that you get really deep knowledge of not only the company, but of your function. And then, like the mid-career training, we have one that's called Cultivate, that is focused on women. And they also have an engineering and technology track. And so it's a huge focus for the company, and especially pulling women and culturally diverse candidates up through the company, so that we can get that diverse thought. Now, as far as like the CDI labs or in incentive, some of the items that are on this page, I can't talk to those.
Alessandra, did you have anything about some of the innovation training that was, talked about in this slide?
No, what I can tell you is that the internal offer related to the technical training is almost infinite. Okay, it is related to what your work deals with, and so it may be for you more useful to attend some trainings than others. What I can tell you for sure is that I've been working for GE, then Baker and Hughes, for 10 years now. And in the first 3 years in Bakery Hughes, I attended something like 76 courses. I never forget about this number because it's a very huge number. You know, during I attended courses that lasted from 1 day up to 9 months. One course that was mechanical design fundamentals. I'm a physicist, so for me, mechanical design fundamentals was really fundamental. Okay, and I had the opportunity to attend this course. Fantastic for me, fantastic. It was for me because I was a physicist, but maybe. And for my role, it was important to know something more about the machines I was going to measure with the instrument I calibrate now. No, but 76 courses during the first 3 years, and this doesn't stop here because I had other courses during the other years, but I didn't count them anymore. But there is a lot you can learn here, and what is that also the offering changes as a function of what it is important for the company. But we have really a lot of internal courses that are some are online, mostly are in presence. Some has got a certification that is valid also outside. And you know that when you are here, you grow every day. You have seen Erin has shown our value. The first one is grow, because if you grow and your personal skill improve and you improve and all the companies improves, because each single person in the company improves, you are going to go really very far and fast. So you always learn in the courses, in your day-by-day job. There are many different ways. Also attending a real master degree, a different master degree from the internal of Bakery Hughes. So I would say infinite. Really infinite. Now there are a lot of on hydrogen, you can imagine on artificial intelligence. And so because this is something really very new and something we really need to learn about, but a lot. And you know, you take care of yourself. And when you take care of your growth, you take care also of the company growth. It's something that is linked together.
Yep.
Awesome. So we have some questions in the chat. So first question is, are there any disadvantages or challenges using the hydrogen turbo machinery system?
Alessandra, maybe you'd be best to understand let's say, you know, we're using hydrogen fuel now in the gas turbine. So what were the challenges, right, to get there, to going to more, you know, hydrogen?
Sorry, I didn't understand the questions. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Yes, there are many challenges, okay? And the first one is about materials. Because hydrogen is a molecule that is the most abundant in the universe, is very simple because there are only 2 atoms, but is a very difficult when meet materials like steel. Okay, so materials is for sure one of the problem we had to face. But we had, let me say, internally, a strong knowledge about materials. We have laboratories that develop materials and use materials and corrosions and mechanical properties. And so we are prepared to face them. What is fantastic about when you meet a new challenge like a gas turbine that must burn hydrogen, and you know that you have got this idea, no? You wake up a morning and say, I've got the greatest idea to solve any energy problem related to the CO2 emissions. Okay, if that's really a strong idea, we have got any capability inside to realize it. We just have to say, we have to, yes, okay. So any part of the business and any part of the technology side push in that direction. And it is a very powerful, a very powerful machine. So if you ask me about that hydrogen machine, I would say materials now, and going up to improve the hydrogen quantities. Materials would be for sure one of the challenge we have to face, but we have got all the tools we need to do that inside.
If you think also about the fact that the hydrogen is a very we have to change also the safety of our system, because the hydrogen is a flammable gas. So this is a very challenge for us, because from a certain level of hydrogen we have ready, we have the technology ready, also the material, as Alessandra said. But when you increase the percentage of the hydrogen, the change of what is around, also the machine, in terms of instruments, in terms of safety devices, need to be changed and need to be redesigned. So we are working on that. We are really try to lead the market on this machine, but we have to improve our product, of course. So it is another challenge related to the hydrogen.
Thanks. I see the next question in the chat. So I actually have a question back to maybe elaborate a little bit. So you say, which sector of energy transition will be more valuable when we transition from oil and gas to green energy? So when you mean by sector of energy transition, do you mean, what sector within Baker Hughes, or energy transition right now isn't really considered an industry? It's more of a term from, let's say, maybe moving away from traditional oil and gas only solutions to cleaner solutions, but we're not saying we're getting rid of, let's say, oil and gas. We do want to move away from, let's say, coal. It is dirty. Natural gas, though, is considered a clean gas still. It's what we burn in our gas turbines, like we mentioned. Carbon capture, though, is a technology that can clean up a lot of those dirty emissions, though, right? So we've talked a lot about the carbon capture and storage and utilization. So that's a technology that could be used to clean up maybe some of the traditional oil and gas ways. But then you also, we talk about, let's say, these alternative energy or renewable, so geothermal and offshore wind and solar, et cetera, that's more considered cleaner energy. And I think right now we're in a phase of, at least from the Baker Hughes perspective, determining what is the most valuable and what should we continue to invest in and move forward with. So, some of these things that you see today in our portfolio for energy transition solutions, we may not move forward with some of those because in the future they could be not the valuable choice and there's something else. But I think carbon capture and storage is definitely an area as you saw, we just had a partnership with 3C, which is carbon capture and ladies,
compact carbon capture.
So yeah, we partnered with them because, again, we from Baker Hughes believe that's going to be the future. And then, as you see, we have a lot of tangible investments and actual products in the hydrogen, making our gas turbines be able to run eventually on just pure hydrogen is an area that we're investing. But I think we're playing around a lot in this space and understanding what is most valuable and what we'll move forward with. So any of the ladies on the call, if you want to elaborate more on what that's kind of what I've seen.
So I can add to that a little bit. So I work for our energy transition team. Like, that's all they focus on is what are we as Baker Hughes going to do to make that impact in the world and move forward with this energy transition. climate change problems, no one has a default solution for that. So we're all on the same level playing field. We're working with our customers to try to find those solutions that will reduce the CO2 emissions in the world, right? So we're all having to work together. It's kind of like playing roulette, right? So if many of you may or may not have played roulette, depending on your age, but you place bets out on a table and then the wheel spins and wherever the marble falls is who wins, right? So there's lots of marbles that are going to fall. The solution really isn't just one type of green energy or one type of solution. It's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix of and a portfolio of solutions. And oil and gas, it's not going to go away. Is what I've heard several times is oil and gas is not going to go away, but it's going to be a part of the mix. And there's going to be lots of bets placed on the table from lots of different companies. And the marbles are going to fall, and there's going to be some true winners, but I don't know that there's like a clear decision that says this is better than the other.
Yep, definitely. And I see the next question, how can one get more involved with the hydrogen energy arena? So I would say these kind of things, joining sessions, learning more about the companies out there and what they're getting, what they're investing in, what they're working on today. So obviously Baker Hughes, right, is a company that is working in the hydrogen space, but do your research, attend these kind of webinars if that's something you're interested in getting involved in. Also, when I was at Texas A&M, they offered what they called an energy efficiency certificate program on the time. And it was an additional set of classes that I had to take. And it actually covered a lot of this stuff. It was really focused a lot on the renewable, but it was other things as well, how to improve efficiency of HVAC systems and buildings, right? And it went into a deeper space. So, like I said, if you're looking to learn more because you're a freshman, sophomore, you still got a lot more time, see what classes that you can maybe take in as your electives, if there's certificate programs or, webinars that you can attend to learn more about. And then if you're looking to get into this space, let's say, after college as a job, definitely do your research on the different companies out there and see what their mission statements about and what they're investing in. So again, Baker Hughes, maybe what you saw a couple of years ago was very oil and gas centric. And now, we are an energy technology company that is investing a lot in this energy transition space. If anything wants to comment further or any other questions? We got a few more minutes.
So I actually have a question. So I was just wondering, how has Baker Hughes sort of adapted this year with like coronavirus and everything? And how have all of your roles been affected by that?
Do you want me to take that one, John? So like many places, we've all gone remote, so we all work from home for the most part. There are some roles, we have big manufacturing facilities and we have laboratories that still have to function. And so, depending on the equipment or the role, there are people who still have to go into the office. They are considered, key roles, but we're following all the rules. So there's masks, there's the distance, there's, the testing, and trying to keep everybody safe and, and COVID free. For the majority of us, I can't speak for everybody. I know myself, I have to work remote, right? I worked remote before in a previous role because I worked in a digital project management role. And so remote is not that different for me. However, we do a lot more video calls than I was ever used to before. So that's a new thing, actually getting dressed for the day and going to work, in your office at home and working with the kids around. So I've gotten to meet a lot of my colleagues, kids and pets and, different things, just like many of you probably in college. But I'll say, when it comes to energy efficiency, part of our team, like we're taking it as an opportunity of, hey, why don't we take a look at how we can reduce our overall carbon emissions if we had a majority stay-at-home workforce? What would that look like? And so I was part of a pilot where they're tracking my energy usage at the house and segregating off the part that is my office. And then there's estimates and modeling taking place to determine, well, if 50% of our workforce just stayed home remote permanently, or if they came into the office, or if we had less office space, we call them rooftops, what would that look like? And so they're, for us, it's kind of sped up the new way of working. And a lot of companies, I think you're going to find that. But at, Baker Hughes as a whole, I think you're going to find that even when we have a solution to COVID and there's a vaccination and people are going back to work and it's normal life again, I anticipate that we'll probably still be a lot remote.
Yeah, they're definitely, Baker Hughes at a corporate level has already released what they forward to work flexible arrangement policy. So there's definitely going to be a blend of the future with the remote working and even just flexible schedules like condensed works weeks, like 980s, etc. So definitely a lot will stick. I think a lot of good stuff will stick from what we learned from COVID. But yeah, a lot of us are still working remote unless you are considered a essential worker, you're at a plant or at a customer site. So definitely lots of more meetings. Virtual meetings.
Which I need to jump for one right now. So, but thank you so much, everybody.
So if any more questions, we can wrap up. Did you record this by chance?
Yeah, we have been recording, and this will be posted on the SWE website later.
Great. Great. Well, if you don't have any further questions, thanks for joining us today, and come look for us at least virtual career fairs or any other targeted events that we do, at Texas A&M.
Thank you so much, Baker Hughes, for your presentation, and thank you to all the students that came today.
Thank you.
And good
Thank
luck.
you.
Yes.
Good luck.
Bye.
Good luck.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
semester. Bye.
Thank you. Ciao.